Joining us now to talk more about this is Robert Rabil, political science professor at Florida Atlantic University. Thanks for joining us, Robert.
Thank you very much for having me.
Iran followed through with its promise to retaliate by attacking a U.S. military base in Qatar. Do you think it'll stop there?
Well, you have to understand one thing here. Now it depends how United States is going to respond. And President Trump has been clear, and the Secretary of State has been clear. If you attack us, we are going to respond in a very devastating way.
The country has also threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. Do you think they'll follow through with this threat?
There is a big chance that the Iranian will act on their threats, and they will indeed try to close off the Strait of Hormuz. But here you have to understand one thing, which is extremely important. If they want to close that strait, Iran and China will be the most harmed, because China is the one that export more of its oil from Iran. So really the loser, they are going to be mainly Iran and China.
Trump has hinted at a regime change in Iran. Is this as simple as the president seems to think? And second, would the outcome actually be favorable to the U.S. and Israel?
Regime change is not something small to do or small things. It needs planning. And regime change really needs, I think, boots on the ground. Now, what I think that United States and Israel, as a matter of fact, are sending messages to the Iranians, that the Iranians, they have two choices. The choice of living in peace with their neighbors, including Israel, or to face strong attacks on the regime, to weaken it and weaken it further so as to collapse on its own. And this is the way I see it myself.
The president says Iran's nuclear capabilities are obliterated. What do you think? Is this enough? And could Iran have preserved or moved some enriched uranium before the attack?
There were certain reports that Iran has indeed moved certain amount of enriched uranium. I don't know where, and I don't know how. Really. So I don't know if this is false or true. But on the other hand, I do believe that the Iranian nuclear plants have been clearly, destroyed. Now, of course, I cannot speak in a definitive way. We have to see how the Pentagon is going to evaluate it and assess it. But from what I hear about, the attack, the bombs used, the amount of bombs, the munitions that was thrown at these plants, I do think that these nuclear plants are disabled.
The president said he was going to wait 2 weeks and then launches the attacks in just a matter of days. What are your thoughts on this move?
Well, as a matter of fact, some people think that it was misleading, and there were certain reports in social media and some, TV station and others that it was a ruse. Myself, I read it very clearly, and I felt that United States is going to attack Iran. Listen, you have two reports from the International Atomic Agency that said, Iran has indeed has enriched uranium, and two reports, and Iran has the capacity of having probably 9 or 10 nuclear bombs. And more than that, Iran has taken a stand, and that stand really, it was in complete opposition to what United States, especially the president, wanted, mainly zero enrichment of uranium. So the Iranians, whether in the meeting or in public, have been always, affirming that this is a red line and we are not going to stop the enrichment of uranium. And this is why I felt myself that United States will go ahead and attack the Iranians.
How will this impact Canada and other NATO countries?
Canada and the European countries are more closer to the Middle East. So you have to understand this. They have a history with the Middle East. Canada is far. Yes, it has a relationship with them. And if you go back, for example, when the Iranian Revolution, the Canadians really, they were kind of an intermediary between us and the Iranians. So really, I don't think it's going to affect much the Iranian. It's going to affect the European more because they are close to the Middle East. They have a history in the Middle East. Britain was in Iran. Let's not forget that. So this is where it's going to affect, and mainly it's going to affect their stability. And they are going to be worried about whether Iran is going to carry out certain terror attack in Europe. And this is a possibility.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. You are more than welcome. Thank you for having me.